Good molweni.
It's Sunday morning.
That can only mean one thing.
That it's time for you to join us on our trip.
So sit back, relax,
and enjoy the ride.
Namhlanje sikwindawo edume ngama-orange nendlovu.
It's the Sunday's River Valley in Addo.
Coming up, this beautiful orange grove is part of Heartfelt Home. Umzi owasekelwa ngokulandela umyalelo kaThixo ukubalondoloza abantu abadala.
After that, we introduce our new segment called Overcoffee.
In it, 4 Christian thinkers discuss an intriguing question about faith, which you might have had.
We kick off today's show with Daily Slice, where we meet Njongo, who's married to hip-hop.
Not only is Njongo Ganyaza an electrical engineer, but he also runs a dance school. He and his wife Midian love sharing their passion for dance with kids. Fiks spoke to him about his early years.
I understand ukhuliswe ngomthandazo.
Ukhula kwethu ebusuku yayingaqedwa isuku elinye ukuthi tata engasibizanga kunye sikuthi masithandaze sonke as a family. Akhathale noba ichomi zethu zikhona wonke umuntu okulamzi siyadibana sonke siyathandaza. And ke lonto leyo isincedile kakhulu ebomini bethu ngoba siyayazi ukuba uncedo lwethu lusuka kuThixo qha.
Walibaleka ngenye imini esikoleni kwathini?
Into enzekayo umama wethu ngeli xesha I think sasiko grade 1 to 3 mna. Olusuku eli nako umntana yalibaleka esikolweni. Kodwa unyana ke mna lingundim ndiyayazi indlela egodukayo. Ndigoduke ke. Fika kwami endlini ndithi mama njani na? Ulibele bakho unyana wakho ufuneka elandiwe esikolweni. Kodwa umama the lovely soul that she is, immediately into ayicingayo is aba bantu sibakhulisa emthandazweni, sibakhulisa ngelizwi. Into yokuqala andichazela yona athi kaloku boy. Yakhumbula sasike sathetha ngayo le nto kuba alikho ixesha okay ube wedwa because xa ufuna uSpsalm 91 litsho izwi pha kuba uThixo is your refuge, uhamba nawo kokoko. Lonto leyo ke caba ihleli kum enhliziyweni. Ngosuku olulandelayo umama wenza ngabomi uba mangayonilanda esikolweni. Lindim ayicingi yonke lonto leyo yagoduka. Kodwa umama ngoxa indibalisela uthi ufika kwam ngolusuku lwesibini. Uthi mama yazi into nangona ndihamba pha kwelahlathi andihambi ndodwa. uThixo uhamba nami. Wabe ngaloo mini wabe yagqibelisa uyosilanda esikolweni.
Nene awuhambe wedwa ngoku. Uzekile. Wanonkosikazi and then nine dance studio kunye nobabini. Khawundichazele ngobhuti ke uhambo lwakho dadibana njani nonkosikazi nomtshato yonke lonto leyo.
Into yokuqala endayibonayo because mna ndandijayiva mos ukhula kwam. Into yokuqala endayibonayo man lo sisi lo uyakwazi ujayiva.
Njongo and Midian bonded over a mutual love of dance and married in 2016.
Kodwa siyabulela kuba abazali bethu besikhulise ngohlobo basikhulise ngayo. Kuba into yokuqala ababesithi masikhayele emntwini. It's not ba umhlophe umnyama luthando lukabawo. It's whether or not uYesu uyaphila kulo muntu lo. Dabe ke mina ke ndiyibonile lo muntu kulosisi lo. And ke lonto leyo isincedile because if it wasn't for ezondwezo I think cultural differences ngeza sasenza ukuthi masihlukane ixesha long time ago.
Now apha eSouth Africa ayikaqheleki into yobana umuntu atshate nomuntu wolunye uhlanga. Xa ke ngone nihamba esitratweni ke ngoku nabahlali banijonga njani bangunithi rhwaqo?
Ndisebenza namadoda amadala amaXhosa. And bayabuza fanele iqhubeka kanjani lento yakho ukuba umnyama umhlophe kuba abantu abaninzi basenengcinga ezisuka way back. And I suppose ngubawo lo in all of it because if it wasn't for the fact ukuthi nditshate nomlumkazi bezingazovela questions ezithile. Ndizokwazi ukuthi fanele umuntu ngumuntu ayikhathali kuba unjani sonke sidalwe ngumuntu oyi-one sidalwe nguThixo qala singabantwana bakhe ayikho enye into ebalulekileyo ngaphezu kunoko.
At Njongo's day job, his faith was put to the test when a supervisor was trying to get him fired.
Lisha njani ke ngoku lo mntu lo?
Xa ndithetha inyani benginalo ixesha loba ndimvele ndimshate off. Ndithi faneni mara as lihamba ixesha uNkosi linguYesu yandibonisa uba faneni ulahlekile lo mntu and wena uthi ngumKristu. Zange ndize mna for wena kuqala wawungelahlekanga na. Oh Nkosi yam lo mntu lona. So into enzekayo ke qona okay Nkosi utsho ne fine. Into endizayizama uyenza mna andizothetha naye lo mntu because andinawo amazwi wakhe kodwa ndizawuphila le lifestyle uthi mandiyiphile. So mna nangona egqaya amatye mna ndizamnika a little bit of love, some kindness. And funnily enough, depart for 3 years. Whatever ploy or whatever into Satan ebeze nayo, it's defizzled xa kuthethwa inyani because siyancokola nale ndoda. Kule ndawo sikuyo ngoku siyakwazi uncokola ngeemeko zokholo sive uba fanele umandani wena ngento ethile. And I know it's taken me 3 years, but I can start to see, okay, this is why I'm here.
Xa ke ungizevala ke ngoku ne kolu hambo lwakho noYesu ke ngoku, what have you learned?
Kumu, it's funny ukuthi such a great big God is so interested in the minor details because way back when abazali bam they bekhethe ukuthi hayi abantu abamhlophe baso, they didn't. Bekhethe usikhulisa ngohlobo oluthile, they didn't. Bekhethe ukuthi hayi masingathandazi, bekhethe ukwenza anything. Bakhethe ukuthi masilandele inanzeke indlela le kaThixo. Sikhulisa abantwana bethu ngolu hlobo. Nangona bona bekhule ngolunye uhlobo. And ezo nto ezo zincinci endizibonileyo Fiks is that today I'm reaping ezo nto ezo.
As jy meer van Njongo se dance moves wil sien, gaan kyk gerus op ons Facebookblad. You'll find an exclusive clip of his latest routine.
After the break, bringing God's love to the most challenging stage of life.
Ingaba ndingabagcinisa ndawoni na abazali bam abasele beminyaka ebuqengqeleka noko? Many South Africans have asked themselves this question. When Helen van Breda's mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, she heard God's call to answer this question.
Having reached the empty nest stage, Helen felt deep within the call to do something significant for God. The question was, what?
In fact, a friend of mine and I had spent hours praying for a dream. And my friend got her dream and was working with folk with AIDS, and I didn't have my dream yet.
She kept trusting the Lord to reveal her true calling. But it was only when tragedy hit her own family that her mission was revealed.
My mum had Alzheimer's, and we had battled to find a place for her to be cared for. We'd never actually even heard the term Alzheimer's when she was first diagnosed. And my sister-in-law converted our farmhouse in Natal to a home. And when we thought about starting to build a home, we went and looked everywhere. And, you know, I'd go to old age homes and think, I didn't want to do this. And then I would go back to what she was doing and just saw she did things differently. And it totally inspired me.
So Helen and Mark designed Heartfelt Home to provide a loving residential environment for people suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia.
In caring for the people and the effect that it's had on all the carers, and it's just become some incredible ministry, actually, which has just been awesome.
Tell us about the residents and the staff.
Carers have come from just their phone, and I interview them, and I've learned now what to look for and what really counts. People really just have to have a heart for the job. You know, to get nursing sisters out here in the country is not so easy. But again, how the Lord has provided in the most amazing way. we have facilitators who work in the afternoons, and their role is to come and engage each individual. So they play games with them and entertain them and find out the needs of the individual.
What part does your faith play in what you do?
I've been a Christian for a long time, but my faith has never been tested like it has at Heartfelt. We started, we built this facility from scratch. But even right from the very beginning, there was a sense of just God's hand over the whole thing. Things just seemed to fall into place. But it has been very testing in terms of my faith because we started with 3 residents. Obviously, we had a big financial outlay in building it. And I can't make anyone come to Heartfelt, so I've just had to trust in the Lord.
Tell us about some of the challenges and the rewards that you faced.
There are certain factors which one could never calculate. The demand for people requiring care. There is a big demand, but we are far out from Port Elizabeth. And it was quite an unknown factor as to how well the business side of it would function. So that was quite difficult to try and formulate, to try and calculate. And that was quite demanding of one's faith as well to get it going.
It's a completely 24-hour business, so it's pretty all-consuming. The Lord gave me a word, and I really want to stress that having heard from God about Heartfelt has kept me in my faith amazingly. The Lord said to me once that I must do the loving and the hugging, and He will see to the rest. And when the rest has been there, and I've had to say, Lord, I need a sister now. I'm leaving that up to you because I have to have a sister. That it's really, really kept me going. The rewards have been huge. Having a family member come, you have a conversation with a person before they come, with a family member, and they're in distress and they're frantic, and to have them arrive and care for them and settle them and find them actually functioning is a gift beyond words, actually. It's not a sad place. Although it's a terrible disease, it's not a sad place.
Helen shares further insights for families dealing with dementia.
The families I think they suffer more than the resident does. There's a great heartache in having to place someone. There's a feeling of guilt. There's distress about that. So we endeavour to care for them well, and by keeping constant communication with them about how their loved one is doing. And it's also a nice place to visit, Heartfelt is, and I think that's also important. I think it's hard to visit in an environment that's not pleasant. So that's why we have a big garden and that there's room for people to visit. And I think that's pretty critical in the journey. That is a tough journey. I think what's vital for someone with dementia is that you see the person. A lot of people feel that they aren't who they were, which is true, but they are nonetheless themselves still. And we see their individuality, and I think it's to encourage people to keep talking to people with dementia, to keep seeing them, to care in a way that honours them. They shouldn't be pushed to the back of an old age home.
When we come back, we introduce our new segment, Over Coffee.
Christian thinkers discuss a question you might have asked yourself. Stick around. What do you get when you take one bishop, 2 ministers,
And a pastor.
put them on a couch and give them an espresso machine?
Then, ask them a tricky question.
You get our brand new segment, Over Coffee.
But, what is the question?
The question we're discussing this morning is a question that I've been asked 100 times, and I'm sure you guys have been asked too. And here is the question. How can we trust Christianity when there are so many hypocrites in the church? And I think we must just give our minds to this, because it's a question that does worry many, many people.
I think specifically of Gandhi saying that he likes our Christ, but he doesn't like the people who follow him. So we are obviously not doing what Christ wants us to do and how to behave.
But again, following Christ and doing what Christ has done is really a tall order. And we cannot expect that all of us can be able to master that at one go or over a short period of time. It is a journey of us becoming more and more like Jesus and what it means to carry his cross.
I find that such a question comes from a place of genuineness. Anybody who asks that question is saying something deep about what they observe from Christians. And in asking that question, for me, is an invitation to come deep into the journey, even if they don't own that as their intention.
That's why when they ask the question, I try, if we're doing it face to face, I try to find out what's behind it. Because usually I've found that they've been deeply hurt by someone in the church, or they've been lied to, or they've been misled. And I think I would want to help them share that first before we talk further, because I'm agreeing with that question. There are hypocrites in the church. Because none of us are perfect, for goodness sake. But by hypocrite, we mean something quite specific. When you're pretending to be something you are not. Like going back to the Gandhi thing. He went to a Methodist church in Durban, and they asked him to leave because it was the white church, and he was sent to the Indian church. And that was the crux of the thing that had Gandhi saying he liked the church, the Christian faith, but he didn't like the Christians.
That makes a lot of sense.
Is it not one of the early fathers? I think it is St. Augustine who says the church is a hospital of sinners. It is those who understands that they are hypocritical in their lives, and them coming to church and following Christ, it is an attempt to draw nearer to the one who is able to make us complete, make us whole, make us become like the one we claim is our Lord and our Savior.
Sensor, I like very much what you're saying. None of us would claim to be like Jesus. I mean, that would be crazy. In fact, I sometimes say to people, when you look at me, I don't want you to say, what a great man. What I want you to say is, if Jesus can work with him, he can work with anybody. And I think we're all deeply aware of that.
Speaking as a lay person, when we read in the newspapers and see on the news these horrific crimes that are committed against children within the church, that's enough, I think, to turn anybody off. So somehow our need to really display as best as we can Christ-like manners and mannerisms, you know.
We should also be mindful of the fact that we're not calling people to ourselves. We're not inviting people to ourselves. Important as it is for us to demonstrate how a Christian way of life should be, we're inviting people to Jesus. So we should not be defensive in saying that there's no hypocrisy in church. There is. We should not be defensive in saying that we're no sinners, as Senzo has said we are. However, we're calling people to Christ. And Christ becomes, therefore, the greatest example of living to which we are inviting people.
Is it not part of the problem when we deal with the subject of hypocrisy that we also look at the type of Jesus that we as Christians put out there? For an example, let's look at Jesus in a context of issues of those who have and those who do not have, the haves and the nots, which is part of the bigger problem in South Africa. If I'm a pastor in a wealthy church, do I speak around the issues of Jesus and wealth, or do I then put that aside and somewhat create a Jesus who comes as a Father Christmas, as it were, who goes to the so-called poor, give them presents for Christmas once a year, pulls away from that community? Because at times the hypocrisy lies in the type and the form and the shape of Jesus that we communicate to the world. We hide behind the Jesus and say, selectively, this is what Jesus stands for, so that we can be comfortable in our own spaces, so that we cannot be seen to be challenged by the teachings of Jesus.
And it's very, very interesting how Jesus always spoke against hypocrisy in the very context that he came to speak into. I mean, he would call them brood of vipers. He would use very strong words. You know, when people pretend to be what they aren't, when people demand of others that which they are not willing themselves to go and be, and it is not a new question that we should be wrestling with. And so for as long as we're here, we will always have this question in front of us, won't we? Jesus didn't call us to be religious.
Certainly.
Jesus just called us to follow him.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what he called us to be. Not to be religious, not to be fanatic about what we read from the Bible, but he just called us to follow. And I guess then we will get back to what the world wants to see, when we just follow Jesus.
When all is said and done, I just hope that people who are looking in on us will sense, one, that we're ordinary human beings, that we're trying to be followers of Christ, and that we would want them to come into the church with openness and seek for the healing they need if the church has hurt them. And if anybody's listening in for whom the church has become a terror and a hurtful place, I would just plead with them to seek for help. Go to someone you can trust.
Ikhwelo licacile. Masibonakalise uthando lukaThixo kwindawo ngendawo esikuzo.
It's not always easy.
It's not.
Isaiah 58:11. The Lord will guide you always.
Till next week.
Keep on shining.